You can be everyone's anchor and still feel invisible. It's a strange kind of ache, the one that comes not from being forgotten, but from being assumed. You hold steady, you show up, you do what needs to be done, and the world quietly adjusts around your reliability. People trust you to be there so completely that they no longer see it happening. You're the constant note in the background of the song, heard but not noticed, holding everything together while fading yourself into silence. I've lived this invisibility more times than I want to admit. There were years in my youth when people called me dependable, the one they could always count on. I wore that label like armor. It felt like proof of worth, until I realized it was also erasing me. The more I carried, the less people thought to ask how heavy it was. The more I showed up, the more I disappeared. Dependability at its sharpest edge can feel like vanishing. Stephen knows this ache intimately. He has told me I'm the one they lean on, but sometimes it feels like they don't even notice I'm here. His words carry the fatigue of a man who has learned to survive invisibility by burying it beneath duty. Angela, in her way, feels the same truth from the opposite end. She has confessed, "I avoid responsibility, but it just leaves me restless, like I don't belong anywhere." Both reflect the paradox. Responsibility can ground you, or it can bind you. Avoid it, and you drift. Grip it too tightly, and you disappear. The ache of invisibility rarely screams. It lingers in quiet moments, washing dishes alone after everyone has left the table, standing in the doorway while others laugh, driving home late after carrying the weight no one else wanted. Maybe you felt it too, the silence that settles after doing the right thing when no one notices you were there at all. I remember being 20, standing at the edge of a gathering. Music pulsed, friends laughed, stories rose and fell like waves. I was the one who made sure everyone got there safely, the one who stayed sober enough to drive, the one who quietly gathered the mess at the end of the night. People clapped me on the shoulder, offered a casual thanks, then carried on. Outwardly, I smiled, nodding, playing the role. But on the walk home, the emptiness grew heavier than anything I had carried for them. I had been needed, yes, but I hadn't been known. Responsibility without recognition becomes disappearance. That's the contradiction. You show up for others, and in the process you vanish from yourself. You are present, but not alive. Stephen once told me, "I hold everything together at work and at home, but I feel like a shadow in my own story." Angela gave me the other mirror. I run from responsibility because I fear it will trap me. But then I feel like I don't matter at all. Both of them circle the same ache. Stephen disappears into overcarrying. Angela disappears into drifting. The common thread is absence. When I think back to those nights of youth, I realize I believed responsibility was proof of value. I thought being the one who showed up would earn belonging. What I didn't understand was the quiet cost, that in always being dependable, I had no room left to be vulnerable, playful, or free. Dependability gave others safety, but it took away my chance to live inside the moment I was holding for them. Dependability is noble, yes, but when it comes without recognition, it teaches you to erase yourself in order to be loved. Responsibility is an anchor only when you remember you're human, not stone. For too many years, I tried to live as stone. I thought the stronger I appeared, the more unshakable I became, the less I was allowed to need. I told myself being needed was enough, that it was the same as being known. But stone doesn't breathe, stone doesn't laugh, doesn't ache, doesn't feel. When you try to live like stone, you lose the very presence that makes you human. I once came across a line that stayed with me. Being needed isn't the same as being known. It pierced because I recognized myself in it. I was the dependable one, always needed, but rarely known. People valued what I did, not who I was. And over time, I began to confuse the two. Stephen has said, "Sometimes I wonder if my worth is only in what I do, not who I am." Angela has admitted, "I think I want freedom, but avoiding responsibility makes me feel invisible too." Their words reveal the paradox I continue to circle. Carrying can erase you, but avoiding carrying can erase you too. Presence is not found at either extreme. The strongest anchors are the ones that breathe. That truth steadies me now. To be dependable does not mean to be erased. To be responsible does not mean to be invisible. Anchors hold, yes, but they are not meant to suffocate. Being needed isn't the same as being known. I've repeated that line to myself in quiet rooms, after long days, when the silence after carrying is too loud. It reminds me that what I long for isn't to be thanked endlessly. It's to be seen as human while I carry, not stone. Responsibility should reveal you, not erase you. That's the paradox I lean on now, to show up not only as an anchor, but as a person with breath and presence intact. A lighthouse can steady ships and still be alone in the storm. I've always been drawn to the image of a lighthouse, tall, solitary, its beams sweeping across black water, guiding strangers safely to shore. It never falters, never complains. Ships trust it, rely on it, navigate by it. Yet when storms rise and waves slam against the rocks, no one turns to ask how the lighthouse endures. Its strength is assumed, its solitude is ignored. There have been seasons when I felt like that lighthouse. Reliable? Yes. Steady? Yes. But inside I was weathered, eroded, and unseen. I showed up for everyone else, but no one saw what it cost. People carried on with their journeys, grateful perhaps, but blind to the toll on the one who lit the way. Stephen once admitted, "I'm the one they lean on, but no one asks if I'm okay." Angela confessed, from the other edge, "I avoid responsibility, but then I ache for weight that proves I matter." Their honesty revealed the same truth. Too much weight without recognition is erasure. Too little weight without belonging is absence. I stood once on a cliffside where a lighthouse overlooked the sea. The wind tore at my coat, waves pounded below, and the salt stung my skin. I remember thinking how lonely it must be to shine for others and remain voiceless. The beam swept endlessly, searching the dark, a signal for others, but no comfort for itself. And I saw my own story reflected there. Dependability can make you a landmark, a guide, even a savior. But if it never includes recognition, it erodes you. Like the lighthouse, you survive storms for others, while no one sees the storms inside you. Dependability without recognition becomes disappearance. Stephen's voice carried this ache when he said, "I've carried so long, I don't even know who I am without the load." Angela gave me the other mirror. I run from responsibility, but the emptiness I feel is just as heavy. Their words circle the same paradox I've lived. Carrying too tightly erases you, but refusing to carry erases you too. I once believed being needed was the highest form of love, that if I became indispensable, I would never be alone. What I learned instead is that being needed without being seen turns you into a shadow. People depend on the shadow, but they never meet the person. The detour lies not in abandoning responsibility, but in loosening the chain. Responsibility itself isn't the enemy. The enemy is forgetting that you are human inside it. To breathe while carrying. To pause while steadying. To allow yourself to be visible even while you are dependable. I once wrote a line in my journal. The strongest anchors are the ones that breathe. It has taken me years to understand it. Strength is not silence. Steadiness is not erasure. True responsibility steadies others while still making space for your own presence. So I ask myself often, how tightly am I tying this chain? Could I carry less with clenched fists and more with open hands? Could I be dependable and still visible? The questions don't erase the ache, but they keep me from disappearing inside it. Showing up doesn't have to mean vanishing. That truth feels fragile and fierce at once. I think of the lighthouse again, steady in storms, shining its beam across waters where no one thanks it. I think of Stephen, carrying so long he fears he has vanished inside his duty. I think of Angela drifting so far from responsibility that she feels hollow in the freedom she sought. Their lives and mine reveal the same lesson. Presence is not found in carrying everything or nothing, but in carrying rightly. The road stretches steady, unremarkable, yet asking something of me. Responsibility has followed me for as long as I can remember. The weight of being the one others can lean on. For years, I believed that showing up required silence, that to be dependable I had to erase myself. But I see more clearly now, responsibility was never meant to erase. It was meant to reveal. Dependability doesn't need disappearance. It can hold presence as well. The ache of invisibility will return, I know. There will be days when I feel like the lighthouse again. Steady, reliable, guiding others safely through storms, yet unseen in my own isolation. That loneliness can feel heavier than the duty itself. But alongside that ache, another truth rises. Being needed is not the same as being known. It is possible to carry and still be carried. It is possible to give strength and still be seen in my own fragility. I've learned that anchors are strongest not when they bury themselves in silence, but when they breathe. when they allow the tide to move around them without losing their hold. Presence doesn't vanish when you show up, it deepens. It becomes the reminder that strength isn't in silence, but in being real, even while you remain steady. The road bends beyond sight, its turn reminding me of what I cannot control. And so I whisper softly into the quiet. Maybe I can still be dependable without vanishing. Maybe showing up can mean more than endurance. Maybe it can mean being seen,